So the GMC Terrain has been out for a year now, but for the 26 model year, they are introducing two higher tier trims. They started off with the Elevation, the entry-level one, and now the AT4 and Denali will be available. We're starting today by trying out the AT4 to see what it's like. So we've got the keys to this white AT4 right here. Let me go ahead and unlock, because with the AT4 and Denali, you get animation welcome sequence on the headlights and the taillights. Let's see if I unlock right here. I can show you that. So for the two higher tier trims, let's go hop in and go for a drive. Oh, that's a pretty cool topography welcome sequence. Again, AT4 is the off-road focused version. All right, let's go for a drive. So what exactly are we doing today? We started off in downtown Detroit with GMC, and we're gonna be driving the AT4 and Denali trims of the Terrain. I'll do a quick drive, share some initial impressions on what they are like to drive, and then a detailed exterior, interior walk around, showing you guys the similarities and differences between these two to help decide if you're considering AT4 or Denali, deciding if it's worth to upgrade from the base Elevation trim. We are currently now in Grosse Pointe, I think, which is a very, very wealthy area outside of Detroit. Some of these houses are absolutely enormous, but we're starting off in the AT4. Now, the trim strategy for GMC has changed over time. They've consolidated it down. We now just have Elevation, and then you go up to AT4 or Denali. And they've been doing a lot of work in building up these sub-brands, these sub-trims, and essentially sub-identities within GMC. So you always have the base entry-level model, but with Denali, we're familiar with that. It's been around for a while. It has a lot of brand equity, to the point where I've definitely heard people say, oh, I drive a Denali. And you're like, well, what kind of Denali? Are you talking about a Yukon, a Sierra? But Denali is so important that you notice also on a Denali trim vehicle, they'll put like Denali front and center, and all the other levels of badging and branding get kind of relegated to a lower tier. It's kind of funny. AT4 is on the other flip side of the coin. This is the more off-road focused version. A lot of different models will have Denali, AT4, and then actually go up a tier. AT4 will come with AT4X, unlike the Canyon, the Sierra. Those are more capable off-road focus. AT4X is even more extreme. I actually did a drive program with GMC when we were in Montana, off-roading AT4X and AEV editions of those AT4Xs up the mountains. It was beautiful, really cool, and impressive how capable they are. But on an entry-level, small little crossover like the Terrain, we're not gonna get AT4X. We're not getting the Denali Ultimate, which is just the upper tier. Those are for the more premium, expensive vehicles. I mean, a Yukon Denali Ultimate essentially feels like a Cadillac Escalade in a GMC skin, and that's a $100,000 SUV. Just not something they would do on the entry-level ones, but they're still mirroring that strategy, and you still get those personality differences between Denali, AT4, and the entry-level Elevation. One final point on the trim strategy, GMC has been doing a good job. They said over 50% of their vehicles sold, 50% of the volume now is one of these premium sub trims. So we're talking AT4 or Denali and up, versus much, much smaller percentage of 10 years ago. So they're making progress there. Buyers definitely like the more higher tier offerings, and you're already going into a more premium vehicle with GMC, right? We're a step up from Chevrolet, but a step down from Cadillac. That being said, I do like this interior. It is definitely nice. So what exactly is the AT4 Terrain? Now, the Terrain buyer, I don't think is necessarily doing a lot of hardcore off-roading, rock crawling. It's just not necessarily what this smaller little SUV crossover is for. That being said, they still did a lot to make this thing decently capable. Now, we're just in Metro Detroit. I'm actually on a very beautiful scenic drive right now, Lakeshore Drive. I've got the lake there and some absolutely palatial houses and properties over here. So no off-roading today. That being said, leaving Detroit, there's a lot of construction. Potholes are cratered roads in Metro Detroit. Has pretty extensive off-roading. And going over that, I could definitely tell that we have these all-terrain tires, 17-inch wheels that are unique here with all-terrain tires. Those will help a little bit of a suspension lift to, whoa, that house is so cool. I hope you guys can see that on camera. Wow, facing the lake. Right now we're on a very nice smooth piece of tarmac, so don't really need those tires. But you get all-terrain tires. You get some functionality in terms of actual tow hooks up front. They're painted red. You have a skid plate underneath to protect some important bits. Although if I need to test the durability of the skid plate today, something went really, really wrong. The powertrain. Let's rewind a little bit more to the basics. What kind of powertrain does the Terrain come with? A 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder is the standard engine across all terrains, but it comes in two kind of configurations. Now this one here is all-wheel drive for the AT4 and the Denali. So the Turbo 4 makes 175 horsepower and 203 pound-feet of torque. It will tow 1,500 pounds. And a key thing to note is the all-wheel drive only comes with an 8-speed automatic transmission, which is great. Now there is a lower tier version only available on the Elevation. You can get these as front wheel drive, in which case it makes 175 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque because it is paired with a CVT, a continuously variable transmission. I presume it can't quite handle the higher torque output, or they need a bit more of a safety factor. Also tow less, 800 pounds versus 1,500 pounds with all-wheel drive. The good news is if you go up to AT4 or Denali, you can only order this with all-wheel drive and the 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, this is a selectable all-wheel drive system. I have a button here on the left. I can press that, and it goes into two-wheel drive, front-wheel drive mode. If I maybe want a little bit more efficiency just on the freeway, don't need all-wheel drive. Honestly, right now, I don't need all-wheel drive, but I'm going to put it back in there for funsies. You also have various drive modes. All the regular ones will come with like normal, snow, ice, tow, haul. If you get all-wheel drive, you add off-road mode. But as the AT4, we also have terrain mode. So we've got terrain mode in the GMC Terrain, AT4 Terrain. So puns abound with all the terrain references. But terrain is just a little bit more capable for doing some more off-road stuff. Now, the buyer of this, again, is not doing like hardcore off-roading. I think it's more so for, there's two factors, I think. A lot of manufacturers are adding these off-road personality trims. And there's a fact that people are getting more and more into kind of active lifestyles, overlanding, some light off-roading, and they also like the personality. It definitely looks more rugged. The tires with the bigger, beefier sidewall and the all-terrain tires, and it just gives you a very different personality from the more blingy, luxurious Denali, and people like that. They like seeing something that looks a bit more capable. I mean, I don't know the numbers, but there's got to be a very large percentage of off-road capable vehicles, even more intensive than this, that never see a speck of dirt, but people like having that look. It's similar to buying a supercar, right? And never taking it to the racetrack. It says something, and it fulfills the personality of the buyer and what they want. Now, actual use case, maybe you have a very active lifestyle. You go camping, kayaking, you need to get up a trail or a fire road or something. Maybe you live somewhere with inclement weather, snow. Michigan's not, it's just flat. It does snow here, but it's flat. But maybe you're in Denver, up the mountains and snow, and you want something with a bit more capability. A vehicle like this can help fulfill that need for the customer. Now, driving along here in the AT4, it rides pretty comfortably. I do love when we have sidewall. Going over those bumps, it was not bad. It's actually pretty quiet. I don't feel like these all-terrain tires are terrible in terms of road noise and some of that tire roar and that noise that intrudes into the cabin. We have paddle shifters here for the 8-speed auto. Can I have a downshift? Oh, I think I might need to be in low. There we go. Low mode, and now I can have downshifts. Whoa! Not the most charismatic of powertrains. It is shared with other vehicles on this platform, but they've done a very good job differentiating the personalities, not only within the trims, but also across the other platform mates. This interior feels very nice. I'll get more into the screens and everything when we're stationary, but the Forest Storm, dark greenish gray trim on the seats with the mahogany piping, the AT4 stitching on the headrest, and also this is a cool like texture, almost feels like denim, this material on the seats. But that's initial impressions of the AT4. No hardcore off-roading today, but if you need something to tackle the potholes of wherever you live, this will be the trim to get. Let's take a quick tour of the AT4. So up front, we have the blacked out grille, and these accents are finished in Knight Rider Chrome. That is a specific finish for the AT4 trim. We have the AT4 badge right there, and these red tow hooks are functional. Underneath, we have the skid plate for protection, slight suspension lift, and you notice the 17-inch wheels with the all-terrain tires that are specific to the AT4. They give it a bit more of a rugged look and stance. And something I like is these are called wheel opening molding lights, WOM lights. They really tie into the off-road focused trucks in the lineup like the Canyon. And I think actually original inspiration for these came from the heavy duty trucks. When a vehicle is beyond a certain width, they have these extra running lights, and they started adding this as a design element for like the AT4X trims. And I think it's cool that it ties in with the other Canyon and Sierra, like the bigger trucks in the lineup. And in terms of the front end styling, they've also revised it to make it look slightly more wider, more aggressive and truck-like, even though this is the small, compact, entry-level crossover in the lineup. You have these C-shaped DRLs, which really ties in with the rest of the family. And then the grille has this interesting line that connects down to the fog lamps, and it gives you this overall X shape that does remind me of the Canyon, but I think they did a good job refining the looks of this to make it look just a bit more capable, and definitely ties in with the rest of the family. It does also help that this one is the AT4 trim with that slight suspension lift and the tires. We have the AT4 badging here on the side, and also two-tone paint finishes are now available. So this one has the black roof mirror, the roof rails too. You can have various different two-tone paint finishes. Coming along to the back, I already showed you guys the welcome animation sweep for the headlights and taillights. We have the Terrain badge, AT4. No visible exhaust tips. They are hidden pretty below the bumper. And then note the GMC badge right there. That little camera is for your digital rearview mirror. The black roof. That's a quick look at the Terrain. Let me see if I can open the trunk right now. The vehicle is running, but looks like I left it unlocked. Actually, whoa. Two-row, but this is a decent amount of space back here. No spare, so we have more storage space below, but that's actually pretty practical from a cargo standpoint. So another look at that Forest Storm interior. Ooh, the seat is nice and cooled because I just left that on. And then this material it looks like denim. It's like a cloth canvasy, more textured, more grippy, and then the mahogany stitching and piping, the AT4 badging, the full big panoramic roof. You also have more of that on the door, and really interesting trim patterns. Let's go ahead and hop in. This one does have the memory seats. And then on the left side, we have parking brake. This is how you select your drive modes. Auto hold, this is the all-wheel drive toggle I was talking about. Auto stop start, and then the brightness. So digital cluster. This one is 11 inch, and this one is bigger. 15 inch, I think, 15 inch. And I love that they kept physical toggles. That's a GMC personality thing, I think. So even if you are wearing gloves, you just don't want to use a touchscreen, this is available as a touchscreen. But you can also toggle up and down for your temperature or your fan speed. The volume knob is integrated into the actual screen. Also good news, because this is a gas-powered GM vehicle, you can still have CarPlay and Android Auto. This one also has the 360 overhead view camera equipped because we are in an AT4. What else do we have? Vehicle status here. You can see tire pressures, various gauges. This is a very, very nice screen. Like, the graphics are nice. It's easy to use. I like how it's vertically oriented instead of like a landscape one. This feels really like just integrated into the actual dash itself, not like an afterthought tablet gets stuck on. There's the digital rear view camera. You can turn it off with this tab. Hello. Turn it back on. All this stuff is pretty familiar if you've been in a modern GMC vehicle. That's for low range or heated steering wheel. We have the volume up and down on the back, and then we have paddle shifters here. The transmission selector stalk works like that. Column mounted, which does free up space in the middle. We've got a little storage bin right here. It has a key icon, but then we also have USB ports for charging. This is where the wireless phone charger is, so you slot it in horizontal like that for charging. And then our cup holders. This opens up for a bit more storage. And then there's actually storage underneath it. There's a pass-through underneath because of the transmission selector being up there. So that is all pass-through. So you can put more stuff in there. It's a nice cabin. Like, I like it. I like this color scheme too. Like this dark, unless you're in like the right lighting, it looks like it could just be gray, but it has a little bit of a green hue to it. Same thing in the second row seats. And then let's go ahead and open up the covering here for the sunroof. One tap opens it halfway, and then another tap opens it all the way back for second row passengers. Makes the cabin feel a little bit more open and airy. Standard cloth headliner up there. But this screen, I like this integration. I like it more than I think the Chevy one, and it's very cool that you can stack multiple different applications. So you don't necessarily need Google to be this big, right? This is a massive Google Maps screen. So if you stack it here, you can have other pieces of information available too. Trip info is useful. What about this one? Oh, nope. See, I don't need full screen Sirius. Go back. Edit. It's really just these three, but I could do trip 1, trip 2 if I wanted to. I wonder if I can customize. Oh, and it flipped this one. So it won't let me do both trips. Or is it only one trip computer? Oh no, there's two right there. Okay. See, I'm learning. I haven't spent that much time with this vehicle. Literally just started driving, and it's been a while since I've been in a newer GMC, like Acadia or something. We're back, and I parked the AT4 I've been driving next to this Denali so we can take a quick look comparing the differences between the two in terms of styling. So you'll immediately notice on the Denali we have the bright silver chrome grille versus the more subdued blacked out with the darker chrome accents here on the AT4. And of course we don't have tow hooks on the Denali, but this is here in silver, the chrome finish down on the lower fascia, and very different wheel and tire combination versus the more off-road, all-terrain focused on the AT4. But an interesting thing to note is you still have the little lighting piece right here, body color painted fenders, the wheel opening right here versus the black two-tone finish on the AT4. Denali badge along the side. All this trim here is finished in chrome. And then remember around back where I was like, look, there's the GMC logo here, because on the Denali, they put the Denali badge here, big chrome lettering, and GMC gets relegated down to the corner. That really shows the importance of the Denali branding, right? An interesting thing to note is this one just says Terrain AT4, but on the Denali it says Terrain all-wheel drive, even though, again, Denali is only available all-wheel drive, AT4 is only available all-wheel drive, so I think that's an interesting choice of the badging back here. The GMC logo gets stuck in a little corner there, but that's a quick look at the different personalities from a styling standpoint between the two. All right, let's go for a quick drive in the Denali and see how it compares to the AT4. I'm actually on Belle Isle right now, a nice scenic little island here in Detroit. It's been many, many years since I've been out here. And you'll also immediately notice that the interior spec on this one is much more light, open, and airy. Although, if you're going to order a color combination this light, you got to be very careful keeping it clean. The seatbelt actually is a little bit dirty already on this one. It just takes more effort to keep it clean, but it definitely looks nice. The majority of the personality difference when it comes to the AT4 versus Denali is going to come down to the wheel, tire, and suspension package. And this Denali actually has smart frequency dampers. They're going to be tuned much more towards plushness, softness, keeping the occupants more comfortable because, again, Denali is supposed to be a little more luxurious leaning. That's balanced with the fact that we do have bigger wheels with less tire sidewall. Standard wheels are 19-inch. You can option up to 20-inch wheels like this one has. And when I was coming down from Detroit, hitting some bumps and potholes in the road, I definitely could feel the impacts a little bit more, but it's still pretty comfortable, I would say. The AT4, I think the tires do really help a lot in terms of ride because you have so much more sidewall. Now, the other aspects of the vehicles are going to feel the same. Driving dynamics wise, from the powertrain standpoint, they're the same. This 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder is adequate. It makes enough power. All of these Turbo 4s, I think, feel a little bit more harsh than maybe a previous, like, older versions when they had naturally aspirated V6s and so forth. But it makes adequate power for passing, merging onto the freeway, all of that. I am happy this one has the 8-speed automatic. I am not a big fan of CVTs, but you can only get that, like I said, in the base elevation front-wheel drive. Otherwise, the screen is the same. The seats actually feel like they have a little bit more side like bolstering here on the bottom. I sat in and was like, oh, that's actually pretty comfortable, not bad. And they are ventilated as standard up front, so you get a couple little more things when you go to Denali, because this is the most expensive. This specific one that I'm driving has been optioned to $45,000, which is a pretty hefty increase from the base Terrain, but you get so many more things as standard that you would likely want to option in the car. They make your life with the vehicle just a bit more nice, and it gives you more of that luxury experience. I'll caveat the next comments with the fact that I am a little bit spoiled, but the sound system isn't great. It feels like a Bluetooth speaker in a small plastic box, right? It's just not the best. I do really like the infotainment screen. I think this is one of the highlights. It's well integrated. It's very easy to use with the built-in Google system. I personally love digital rear view mirror. It makes visibility out the back so easy once you're used to it. And also at night, it can help eliminate glare from headlights and people who don't seem to know they're not supposed to run high beams behind you trying to blind you, right? So digital rear view mirror is really nice. Look at the big panoramic roof. I do wish there were a couple things that maybe really makes this stand out from the competition. I know the entry-level segment and price point, but like, imagine if this had Super Cruise. That would be such a huge differentiator. There's no hybridization or plug-in hybrid or EV option on this platform. They're just sticking with the simple, likely more affordable gasoline plus transmission conventional powertrain setup. So no plug-in hybrid, no EV for this small little GMC. Now GMC is still going into EVs fairly aggressively, right? They've got 3 EV trucks you can pick from: the Hummer SUV, Hummer truck, and the Sierra EV, which they're adding lower tier trims to those now, but nothing in this platform at the moment. This works. It is an absolutely beautiful day. Take a look at those clouds. Parked here next to the fountain and a statue of some dude sitting down. I have no idea who he is, but he's important enough to have a statue made of him. Anyways, back to the Terrain Denali. Already gave you a quick tour when we had this parked next to the AT4, but you'll immediately notice the chrome grille, the chrome line right here on the front fascia. And it's not just a different color for the grille. They actually changed the design, so there's very different personalities between the Elevation AT4 and Denali. We have the C-shaped running lights up front. Headlights and taillights have the same welcome animation as the AT4 does. And then take a look at these 20-inch wheels, optional upgrade wheel size, and also the body color painted opening, the fender right there, the wheel opening. Denali badge, more chrome. The surround around the windows is all chrome silver, including the door handles there. We do have black mirrors with the black two-tone finish, but the roof rails here are finished in silver versus black on the AT4. And then coming around back, you'll notice the giant Denali chrome lettering. So even if you're like all the way back here in the car behind, you can tell that this is a Denali. They are really emphasizing it more than the fact that it's a Terrain, more than the fact that it's a GMC. They want you to know that this is a Denali. So I find that very interesting how much they emphasize the Denali branding. Now let's go ahead and hop in the second row seat. Oh, this is actually dark brown. So it's a two-tone, like light gray, white pretty much, white and brown combination. There's brown stitching here, the floor mats, everything. That is actually brown. Now I have the front seat set to where I would be while driving. I'm 6'3". So let's see what the second row space is like. It's actually pretty good. I've got plenty of legroom, knee room, headroom here at 6'3". So 6'3" adult can sit behind a 6'3" adult in the Terrain. We also have heated outboard seats back here, plenty of storage back there, so not bad at all. Back up front, we have a button right here for opening the trunk, and I feel like these seats have a little bit more bolstering. I'm gonna have to ask one of the GMC team if it's true or not, but like maybe it's just my perception. We have that stitching here, and this is actually brown. The floor mats with the Denali embroidery right there, brown steering wheel. Again, Denali here. If we count the Denali logos, that'd be fun actually. We've got 1, 2, 3, there's one there, 4, 5, and then the gigantic one out back, 6. Are they on the second row headrests? No. Okay, so I count 6 Denali badges on this GMC Denali. Oh, no, there's more on the door. So there's 1, 2, there's 8. How many GMC badges are there? 1. Oh, there's 1 in each wheel, so that kind of wins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, no, there's more Denali badges than GMC badges, I think. I'm pretty sure that's right. We have the same digital cluster right here. We can reconfigure it to full screen Google Maps, which is freaking out at the moment. We have our driver assistance view, and then you have your speedometer in the middle with the tachometer, and then the same screen that we already showed you here, and then just different personality with the wood trim, the lighter colored, everything else. Cooled seats, mentioned that. Got the stitching there, big panoramic sunroof, sunglasses holder, all pretty standard, digital rearview mirror. I am going to pull out my phone to read you the list of standard comfort and technology features on the AT4 and Denali. Now, all of these things are standard when you order an AT4 or Denali. All-wheel drive, hill descent control, wireless charging for your phone, auto-sense power liftgate. That's where if you stand behind the liftgate with the key in your pocket, it senses it and automatically opens. Animated headlamps, dual zone automatic climate control, trailer hitch that's factory installed, wheel over molding light, that's a little lights above the wheel arches, power driver seat, heated wiper park, which I believe is when the wipers are in the home position, it like warms it up so you can break the ice when you're parking outside in the winter. Universal home remote, air quality sensor, roof rails, rain sense front wipers, and outside heated mirrors. All of those things are standard when you go up to an AT4 or Denali, in addition to all the standard safety and driver assistance features across all different terrains. So it's been interesting comparing the AT4 and Denali, very different personalities. I personally think I would go for the AT4. I do like the look with the tires and the different wheels, and I do like that interior forest storm, like the dark green with mahogany accent spec. Now, the personality differences I think aren't going to be as drastic as they are on a maybe a higher tier vehicle or more specialized vehicle. Like I'm thinking like with the Canyon, the AT4X, that thing is pretty extreme. The Yukon Denali Ultimate, it is going to be a bigger difference because it is such a higher tier vehicle and it can command that kind of feature set or premium feel or separation. The Terrain, again, is an entry level vehicle. I mean, the elevation starts at like around $30,000. That's fairly affordable in today's day and age when the average car is like $50,000. And even this, when you option it up as a Denali or AT4, we've got some pretty nice features. I mean, the interior is pretty good, spacious. I can fit behind myself, plenty of cargo space back there, the big panoramic roof, digital rearview mirror. I do like the integration of this infotainment screen here running the built-in Google system, and you still have CarPlay, Android Auto. I like physical toggles for my climate settings. I've got cooled seats. I do wish we had something like Super Cruise to really differentiate. Imagine like this entry-level small vehicle comes with Super Cruise, right? You have to pay for the subscription, but now you have hands-free driving on a freeway in your Terrain. That would be properly impressive, but it's been nice getting to drive them, try them out. I know the Terrain has been out in base elevation trim, but now you can option up to the AT4 or the Denali. I personally would probably go for the AT4 if I was shopping in this segment, but a nice offering, good differentiation from other platform siblings. What do you guys think of the Terrain? Which one would you go for? Hope you guys enjoyed this quick little comparison video between the two. Thanks for watching.